Holland area is where we're watching another area of concern with this storm. Yeah, it's kind of right in here. You're getting some of these, where these bright spots here, it's where the wind. So the way this view of the radar and the winds are, it kind of calculates the speed that the storm is moving already. And when you take into account that, the bright spots are showing that there's individual sections where the winds are pushing out or in stronger than where it is in other spots. So we kind of get an imbalance with the winds, and that can sometimes show where potential rotation is. So if you live in Holland, they're along Highway 95, Bartlett along Highway 95, you need to be taking your precautions. And then Rogers, you're in the potential path of this storm as well. Davila in the possible path of this storm as well. This is going to move east, again, moving at about 45 miles per hour, and a radar indicated potential of a tornado with this storm. And what the National Weather Service is saying, they're seeing several what we call embedded circulations inside of this storm where they're popping up really fast, and these are nearly blind to us sometimes until the storm already starts to wrap up really quickly. So while this may not be ground truth verified that we can verify, you need to go ahead and take the correct precautions. Be in your tornado safe shelter, even though we can't prove 100% by any spotters. One, it's 7:30 at night. We couldn't see these storms even if we had people on top of them. So again, we've got 3 tornado warnings right now. We have one in northern Williamson County, another one now in southeastern Bell County and northwestern Milam County, and then another warning that has prompted at least parts of the Waco metro area to sound the tornado sirens. It's really south of Waco that we're watching. But what we're going to be watching with this are all these little bright spots here. This is where these embedded little rotations could be, and it can fluctuate along the line as it's moving through. So the big takeaway is if you are under a tornado warning, you need to take your tornado precautions. Find somewhere good, safe, sturdy to be inside. These are moving quick, so the threat's not going to last long. You'll be able to get out of your tornado precautions quickly, but get the family, get somewhere safe until these storms pass. Again, right in here, you can see this little bright area here running right along Highway 7. That would go right near the Bruceville Eddy area. We'll have to watch that area of that storm. That's part of that area that's under the tornado warning that's in effect for southern McLennan County. Again, Troy, that storm should be right on top of you right now. So we still need you to kind of be in your safe spot there. Again, you see these kind of brights, greens and reds kind of in the same area here. It's an area that we're watching closely with this thunderstorm. All right. Check with a few things here real quick. Jillian, were you able to send out that push alert?
Yeah, I tried.
Okay, no, that's fine. It may be locked up with the stuff on it. We got a lot of people checking it out, so I'm sure they're getting 1,000 pushes anyways. All right, so let's take you back out a little wider and kind of give you a recap of what's going on. A big line of storms, which we anticipated, kind of moving right across I-35 right now. So all the way up and down I-35 from Hillsboro to Waco to Temple, all the way down through Salado to Georgetown. Just a big mess right now of heavy rain. We've got the threat for some high winds, and we've got 3 areas of concern right now of at least the potential of tornadoes to spin up. These straight line wind, what we call a squall line events like this, it gets hard to see the individual rotation inside of these storms due to just the fast movement of everything and just the cluttered nature you get with all of these different storms. But we really get to watching inside of this where you see kind of these little notches in here. Folks in Moody, you got heavy rain, your tornado threat has diminished. So that's good news. Still stay inside. You got a lot of lightning. Still probably got some gusty winds and heavy rain there. McGregor, same story for you. It's east of you. We're not worried about you as much. Again, from Hewitt to Waco, where the heavy rain's already occurring, that's going to diminish that tornadic potential with it. But again, south of Waco, particularly Lorena, Bruceville, Eddy to Troy, and then eventually east of there, we're going to be watching the Rosebud lot areas potential with this. And if this threat continues, we'd have to be watching towards Riesel and Marlin as these storms continue to move east if this circulation inside of these storms continue. The other new warning that we got is south and east of the Salado area, kind of crossing Highway 95 right now. So from Rogers to Holland to Davila, that's the area that we're watching. So as you go from Bell County to Milam County. So here's Highway 190 right here. So from Rogers, over to Holland. So between Highway 95 and Highway 190. Now, this is Highway 190 in eastern Bell County, not the I-14 part. And this is well southeast of the Belton area as well. So it doesn't include Salado, but from Holland eastward to Rogers and Davila, that's where we're watching with this storm as it continues to work its way to the east and working across southeastern Bell County and into parts of the Milam County area as well. And this kind of has the same look that we've been seeing where, you know, not the screaming at you guarantee there's a tornado on the ground, but you're seeing these bright spots and the kind of the fluctuation of the line here where that could be spinning up a potential tornadic activity with that as it's crossing Highway 95. If you live in Holland, your threat's going down. Give it another couple minutes and the tornadic threat will be out of your area. Folks from between Rogers and Davila, right there on that county line, that's an area that we're going to have to watch closely with this line as it continues to move east towards your area and brings that potential tornadic threat. Again, we're continuing to watch this tornado warning that's in effect for, it still officially includes southeastern Coryell County. You're out of the mess with that. Same story with areas from 317 to 36 and southwest in Bell County. So Morgan's Point, Lake Belton, the tornado threat is out of your area. Troy, I think the tornado threat's now east of your area. Same thing with Moody. It's really right up and down I-35. So Lorena, Bruceville, Eddy, eastward. So kind of the far right corner of that warning that we're worried about. And then the McLennan County, really now the wind threat's shifting more east as you're shifting east of I-35. Now, in and around where these storms are ongoing, even where the heavy rain is, that could continue to cause some high winds. And I'm going to check in on some of the observations to see what the winds are looking like. The Waco Regional Airport, latest report, still about 40 mile per hour wind gust reported there within the last few minutes. Temple, we've had some wind gusts to 41 was the last report that they had at the Temple Airport. McGregor, let's see what their latest ones that we can get from them. Yeah, right in that 40 mile per hour range. And you're going to see a distinct drop in the temperatures. McGregor went from 73 in about 15 minutes down to 55 degrees. And once that cooler air moves in, that cuts off any of that tornadic threat. So you'll get that cool air, and then you may get a little diminished winds, and then the stronger winds will start to pick up back up after the storms move out later this evening. We've got a big kind of wall of severe thunderstorm warnings that have been extended to cover now all of our eastern counties. So other than Leon County, everybody along and east of I-35 has that threat for severe thunderstorm style winds. The hail really hasn't been much of an issue at all with any of this thunderstorm activity. I'll take a look and see, but yeah, I mean, it's nearly showing none. So the good news is the hail threat never materialized. Overall, the biggest threat is that wind threat moving through, but we've got a couple areas inside of this storm that we're watching some of the severe potential in that rotation that's possible inside of this storm as well. All right, so let's take you in a little closer again on these tornado warnings and give you kind of the latest of what we're seeing. So tornado warning number 1, this runs until 8 o'clock. So again, the parts of Bell County, for the most part, we're not worried about. Still on the Bell Falls County line. So from Troy northeast, not quite to Chilton, but from Lott to Chilton, right on that Highway 77 area, you need to be prepared because that warning could be extended. This is the third warning associated with this area of rotation, and it could be extended to cover from Lott to Chilton to Marlin, Perry, Northern, Falls County. So we'll keep an eye on that. Lorena, your tornadic threat's going down as this heavy rain starts to increase, and then we'll continue to watch again this Highway 77 area. If this warning was extended more, it could include from the Robinson area south, but the rain looks heavy enough in Robinson that overall shouldn't be too bad of a concern there. The other tornado warnings that we're watching are down across our southern counties. This warning that's in Williamson County, so the view you see there from our vortex or our chasers are moving into Milam County, so they're just outside of Rogers now. They're out of the rain. but they're still seeing some pretty strong outflow where they are. So that's good news. As long as we keep what outflow is winds pushing out away from the thunderstorms. And anytime the winds are pushing away from the thunderstorm, you don't have that warm, unstable air feeding a potential tornado. So outflow winds are just strong straight line winds. When our chasers report inflow, that's winds feeding up and into the storm, and that can start to increase that threat of a tornadic potential. So we're watching this right now. Again, nothing that we're too overly worried to guarantee a tornado on the ground. This part down here, we're pretty much blind right now. That big circle you see right there, that is where the radar is located, just outside of Granger. The storm is passing over it, so we've got a kind of a cone there where we can't see anything. So we're going to be a little blind with that storm until it works its way east and then works into easternmost Williamson County and into parts of Milam County as well. I want to take one look here. We had starting to get a little bit of a hail core showing up. Yeah, we got a little bit of hail there starting to show up near and east of Highway 317. So folks in the Troy area, this little hail core here could be maybe up to quarter size, but we have not seen anything that has been more than probably penny size with any of this activity so far. So again, 3 tornado warnings right now in effect. I'm going to check with the Weather Service and see if we're hearing any new word from them. Nothing out of the reports from them. The folks at the National Weather Service got a busy night. I'll show you the wide view here. They're dealing with the same office that runs our warnings, stretch all the way up here to the Red River. So a busy night keeping an eye on the radar. And they've had 80-plus mile-per-hour winds earlier that moved through parts of Tarrant and Dallas County as well. So a big, impressive line of storms really for March standards. You don't see these a lot like this in March. This is more your April-May style storm setup. But again, we're still watching this potential tornadic threat that's working across Bell County and northern Bell County, southern McLennan County right now, that is working its way towards the east. This warning runs until 8 o'clock, so we still got about another 14 minutes. They may have to extend this because this area of thunderstorm activity may outrace this warning. So we've got, let me take this off right there, and let's take a look at this and see. Yeah, so we've got kind of a couple of areas that are showing some potential rotation. So let me show you what we're watching here. So you kind of, all right, so we're watching in this area right here. See this little notch here. Again, these aren't going to be your big monster, what we call hook echoes like we have with supercell thunderstorms. This is going to be notches along the line where a quick storm can spin up a tornado. So we've got that little notch there, and it pretty well adds up and corresponds with the velocity data. So this is showing winds moving north in the red, and the greens are showing winds that are turning the opposite direction, blowing in towards the radar. So this is east of Bruceville Eddy. Bruceville Eddy, your tornado threat's going down. That's good news. But the Mooreville area, so here's Highway 7 right here. So as this continues to go east, it's going to cross Highway 77, eventually work towards Highway 6 if this rotation continues to hold on. So again, this is moving into Falls County right now, but this area where these greens and reds right here would be the area that we would continue to see. So good news is the Weather Service did say they'll likely allow this one to, for the McLennan County part for sure, to expire because we're not seeing anything in that's showing any real concerns. Again, we'll watch Falls County here over the next 10 or 15 minutes and see what that rotation looks like. But the McLennan County threat for tornadoes definitely going down, and that's good news. Now, down here in this area, again, it's just a big mess right now because the storms are going right over the radar. But we will continue to watch as this kind of moves past the radar into Milam County. But right now, it's more straight line wind concern, it looks like, with this activity that's pushing towards Thorndale, past Holland. Now we'll be working into parts of Milam County with this storm activity that's working towards the Highway 77 area with these storms that are moving off to the east. So yeah, and you can see, again, we'll have to watch. We'll get a better, probably in the next scan or so, we'll get a better view once this part's past the radar because it's shooting right at the very bottom of that storm. So we've got to watch right in this area again, right around the DeVille area that you'd want to be in your tornado shelter there. And then as you go into some more of the rural areas there of northwestern Milam County, we'll be watching that as well. But folks in Rockdale, Thorndale, we've kind of got a 1-2 punch of rotation we're going to have to watch to see how this one looks once it gets away from the radar and then how this activity goes. So if these continue, you're going to have Highway 79 all the way towards the Cameron area, Rockdale, Cameron, Thorndale. You need to at least be watching, paying attention to some of that activity as it's continuing to move its way towards the east. Straight line winds, really the big concern as you move from the Temple area eastward towards Cyclone, as this activity is moving across Bell County from Chilton to Lott to Rosebud. They're along Highway 77. That high wind threat's going to be pushing your way. And again, we still have that at least isolated potential of a tornado that could occur inside of this line as well. I'm going to look real quick at the see how the power outages are looking right now with this stuff, because I know that they've got a lot of stuff that, let's go look by county here. Yeah, so we've got right now in McLennan County about 2,000 customers reporting power outages. 2,000 out of the that are without power. Bell County about 600, and about 2,000 in Williamson County as well. So we've got some power concerns with all this wind. And again, these are just more your wind-driven power lines. Trees have issues with the winds that they will be, I'm sure, out working to fix as fast as they can. If you do lose power and you're worried about losing TV, again, download our free KWTX weather app. That's a great resource to keep an eye on these storms. We're streaming our coverage on our app just like we are on air, and giving the same information across multiple platforms. So that's a great resource to keep an eye on the storms as they're working through. And we're going to stay with this activity as these storms work across I-35, our heaviest populated areas. And I know the tornado warnings don't affect Waco, Temple, and Killeen. And I know I'm upsetting folks for interrupting your program, and I do apologize. But we've got a responsibility for being an over-the-air broadcast station to keep folks aware when potential life-threatening storms are moving through. So we want to let folks know of these potential tornadic storms. And again, the National Weather Service issues these warnings due to the potential that there's enough inside what the meteorologists are looking at the radar, just like we are up at the National Weather Service office, to see the rotation that could cause the concern. So the warning that's in effect for southern McLennan County, again, the McLennan County part of this, we're not worried about anymore. It's really just this far corner here, just along and west of Highway 77. So from Chilton Lot westward, that's where we're watching that threat with that activity. Again, it's not looking as impressive as it did earlier, but it's something that we're watching. The other area, and this one's maybe shifting more, last I heard from our chasers there, they were seeing more outflow winds, and that's what we're seeing here as well. The straighter this is, it's good news one way, not the other way. Straighter it is, that means it's more just straight line, what we call outflow winds, and we're not seeing that potential. The one area we'd have to watch that's kind of moving out is right in here. You kind of see that little notch right there. That would be where we would have some concerns with the potential of possibly tornadic winds. Yep, and that is verifying with the radar. So it's kind of out over open rural areas right now, but if there's going to be a tornado, it's likely going to be right in here. So there's the community of Davila there. It's going to be just south of there, moving to the east. So there's a little community of Sharp there in Milam County, and we zoom out. That's going to work in the direction kind of in between Cameron and Rockdale. So that's the strongest rotation that we have ongoing right now. That warning runs for another 7 or 8 minutes as well. So we will continue to keep an eye on that to see. Again, we've got our our Weather Authority chase team down there. They're keeping an eye on it. They have not seen anything. And again, what they're really having to do now is watch lightning strikes to try to light the sky up to see if they can see any structural or potential power flashes, where if a tornado was on the ground that it hits power lines and causes issues like that. So they're trying to look for small clues to try to pass along any information to us, but as of last, they haven't seen anything. We're still got a little area of rotation that's there in the easternmost part. Again, it's nothing as blow you away, but there is still at least some broad rotation there just south of the Moorville area. So here's Highway 7, here's Highway 77 right here. So we're talking Falls County, western Falls County, but there is this at least area of broad rotation that's sitting just west of Chilton. So an area that you definitely want to continue to keep an eye on with this storm. So again, it's really that area there that we're watching to see. The Weather Service is going to allow that to expire. So they have dropped that one off completely. So they're going to drop this warning off completely here. So again, we'll watch this little area rotation. If anything was going to spin up, it would be that area right there. But the area has moved out of the area of concern with that storm as it's moving there. Again, right now, the biggest concern we have of rotation is in this storm right here that's in the northwestern parts of Milam County. So it's off to the northwest of Rockdale. Thorndale would be right down here, so it's north of you. It's again kind of out of open rural areas here, but it's moving to the east, and we have to watch areas from between Cameron and Rockdale with this storm right now as it continues to move to the east. Yeah, and we just got word from the National Weather Service again. They got the strong outflow winds, and then again that embedded area right here. So you've got strong outflow winds right here that are moving across. And outflow, what I mean by out, is just pushing out away from the thunderstorm along Highway 79, and then you've got this portion right here where that potential rotation would be there north of Rockdale, would be heading east along that's FM 487. So you've got some small communities, Sharp, Tracy right in here. And again, these are all pretty small rural areas that this is working across. But if it continues to work to the east, you've got Highway 77 right here, and then you got Highway 190 right here. So Milano, you got Cameron, and you got Rockdale kind of in this area of Milam County that this storm would be pushing towards. So just checking on a couple things here. So I'm getting a lot of communication. We have a chat with the National Weather Service, and then we're also talking with our Chase team that's out keeping an eye on all this as well. So really that's the big area of concern we have when it comes to the tornadic concern right there in Milam County right now. The tornadic concern is decreasing across southern Bell, northern Bell, southern McLennan, and western Falls County. And there's the new warning right there that just got issued. So that kind of fit in the area that we were talking about. So new tornado warning has been issued. Let me get the specifics on it. It's going to be for Milam County till 8:30. National Weather Service seeing a storm capable of producing a tornado right now located 8 miles southwest of Buckholtz or 12 miles northwest of the Rockdale area. So it's north of Rockdale. This one's even moving faster. Radar indicating this one could be moving east at upwards of 60 miles per hour. Cameron, you're under this warning. Let's put a track on this, kind of show you if it moves any, let's put it at 50 to 60 miles per hour and moves inside of this. I think it's going to be racing. So that would put it in Cameron in the next 14 minutes. It's going to roll likely near or just south of Cameron. It's kind of, you got the area of Sharp. It's right on top of that area right now. It's going to push east. So here's 77 right here. Here's Highway 190. It all meets up just near and south of the Cameron area. It's in those kind of roadway corridors there that we're worried about the tornado threat with this storm. So you got some of these other communities that are outside of this warning just because this storm's moving so fast that within an hour it could be sitting more off towards Hearn, Elliott, areas like that as it continues to push off towards the northeast. So that's the area of concern we've got right now. Again, this warning is going to go in effect for another 30 minutes with this storm. Again, it's sitting right now just to the east of the Davila area, moving over kind of rural areas of Milam County right now. And again, we'll take you to the velocity on this product. And it, again, showing signs. Yeah, you've got this area right in here where you got these bright reds. So here's the radar here. It measures winds pushing in one direction. That's red for going away. And then it's got the greens. Now, it doesn't look quite as impressive as it did just a couple minutes ago, but these storms have had this history of kind of tightening up, loosening up. But you can see that steady movement right there. It's moving right along FM 487, and it's going to shift east. And if it continues on this path, again, kind of hard to see in the greens there. There's Highway 77. Here's Highway 190. Here's Cameron. Here's Rockdale. And it's going to roll likely right in between those two towns as it moves across Milam County. Again, the polygon here has it coming a little more north. So we'll watch and see if it's going to keep an east or a northeastward track. But if you live in the Cameron area, you need to be prepared and be ready to take your precautions with this storm as it continues to try to move its way to the east. So we've got, yeah, I'm trying to look to see where all of our, So the view you're seeing down there is out in advance of the storm on Highway 190. So that's between, actually, no, more to the north. So there are Weather Authority chasers. They're up here on Highway 190 between Buckholz and Cameron. So they should be able to get a pretty good view. They're trying to get set with a good area to see. So that's why it kind of looks calm where they are now. They're getting positioned to where this rotation would be and trying to get positioned for this rotation that's moving through Milam County right now. All right, let's zoom back out and kind of give you a recap. We're getting close to the top of the hour. First of all, that's the best radar indication of a possible tornado that we've seen all night. That's a pretty solid hook for a line of storms like this. So again, if you live in Cameron, you need to be taking your tornado precautions now. Again, the radar indicating more likely that a tornado is on the ground. We're not going to be able to see it. This is not a storm. One, it's nighttime. Two, these storms are racing. Three, there's a lot of rain and a lot of wind that makes it really hard to see. Plus, these are moving right now over more rural areas. One of the tricks that storm chasers use are power flashes. Well, there's not as many homes right now for power flashes to occur. But as the storm works towards Cameron, it's going to move into more of a more areas where there's more homes. So we need you in Cameron taking your tornado precautions now. Be prepared for a potential tornado that's within the next 10 to 15 minutes of making it into the Cameron area. So you're not going to get a lot of lead time with this storm. Straight line winds still the concern up across as you go farther north up Highway 77 from Rosebud to Lott. The rain's starting to pick up. You can see it kind of looks a little ragged up here around the Riesel Marlin area. So that's good news. That wind threat may be coming down just a little bit with this storm, but at least in that part. All right, so let's take you up north here. So again, heavy rain winds now shifting mainly east of the Waco area, at least the wind threat is. Still some pretty good rain falling in and around the Waco area. You're seeing the rain starting to come to an end out towards the McGregor area. I do want to show you something interesting. Let's see if we're... One interesting thing with this setup is once the rain moves out, it's not all quiet for us. The winds are going to start to pick up. They're not too bad now, but as the night goes on, we're going to get really strong westerly winds. You can see some of this thunderstorm winds, Waco and Hillsboro picking up strong gusts, but westerly winds will start to increase as we move deeper into the night. So just double checking on the numbers here. No real changes on the Encore map, so that's good news. All right, so kind of give a recap. The threat for severe weather diminishing along and west of I-35. We have no severe thunderstorm warnings west of I-35. The McLennan County, Bell County are out of the severe thunderstorm warnings as well. So that's good news. We can take a little sigh of relief across I-35 and off to the west. But east of I-35, that's where the threat is. The northern parts right now of this line, we're mainly worried about the straight line wind threat. But as you move to the south, that's where the threat of the tornadic activity goes up. And again, this has been the most distinct kind of screaming at you, there's a good potential of a tornado, is with this little hook right here. There's a definite notch in this storm, and that's typically what we see with these lines. We don't get the real well-pronounced hooks like you get with a supercell thunderstorm, but in these notches here, that's where we start to see that more pronounced rotation inside that storm. And this little, you can kind of see where the greens kind of cut into the reds there. That's winds pushing towards the radar with very strong winds pushing away. So we've got an area where there is winds going in opposite directions and the potential rotation that we could see. We've got Adam and Melissa Suker out chasing with this storm, and they're getting positioned. Should be right in and around the Cameron area to give you a good view of this storm as it continues to work east. Again, it's moving quickly, probably in terms of roughly 50 miles per hour that this storm is moving. So you're not going to get a lot of lead time with this storm just due to the fast nature of it. And my computer doesn't even like to stretch out to 50 miles per hour. I may have to zoom out. Let's see if I can get it there. There we go. So this is roughly kind of the timing we're talking. So again, it's 8:03 right now. So within the next 10 minutes or less, this storm is going to be knocking on the door of the Cameron area. And again, outside of this warning, we've got to watch areas like Hearn, and there's some other smaller communities as you move into parts of Robertson and eastern Milam County, right along the Brazos River here, that we'll have to watch as well. But the main area we're watching with this storm is near and south of the Cameron area with this storm. Again, that rotation is sitting off towards your south and southwest is where it is right now. And let's kind of roll this a little bit and show you what it's been looking like. So this is over the last hour of where this rotation has been. You can kind of see it moved right over the Granger radar, and it continues. It's going to likely go just south of Cameron is where it looks like if it continues on its track, it's going to cross Highway 77 here. Here's Highway 190 right here, and it's going to cross right near just on the southern side of Cameron. If you live in Cameron, you still need to be in your tornado safe area because this storm's going to roll really close to your area. There's this area of rotation right here that's moving to the east-northeast at about 45, 50 miles per hour that we're worried about that's going to be right near the Cameron area. Again, our chasers are sitting, Adam and Melissa Suk are sitting right in the area getting set for this storm. Should roll right through pretty close to where they are, and that would give us a pretty good idea of where that potential tornadic activity could be crossing right there. So that warning runs until 8:30, so we got another 25 minutes that we're watching the potential of that tornadic activity. And again, you can see this little notch right here. That's where the rotation would be. And again, it's going to work near and just south of the town of Cameron. That's where we're watching the potential right now. Looks like it's going to stay north of the Rockdale area. Thorndale, you got some heavy rain winds, but that tornadic threat's up to your northeast. So again, watching in and around the Cameron area as the storm continues to work its way to the east. I think our feed froze there from our chasers. We'll try to get that back up. Sometimes the video is being fed over cell phone signal, so that sometimes can get a little iffy at times with these thunderstorms. So again, right now we got storms working their way towards Marlin, also towards moving through Rosebud and Lott. So it's crossed Highway 77. Here's Highway 6 right here. So that'll be the next area that these storms will be working towards Marlin, over towards Reagan, areas like that. Zoom out, we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning. That's down towards Caldwell and Bryan College Station, already putting out severe thunderstorm warnings there. The reason you're seeing kind of this gap right here, these are different National Weather Service offices. So Robertson County is handled by the National Weather Service in Fort Worth. Bryan College Station, Caldwell, they're under the Houston National Weather Service. So that's just difference in offices. They'll probably fill this in eventually as the storms continue to move east. The general trend has been packing in severe thunderstorm warnings right along this line as it continues to move east. And again, a few tornado warnings. Right now, the only tornado warning in the state of Texas is that one in Milam County. So overall, the tornado threat hasn't been too bad with these storms. The high wind, heavy rain has really been the biggest story. But again, we're watching this one pretty decent notch with this storm right now that is rolling, again, right towards Highway 77, Highway 190. And this is the area of rotation we'll be watching right here. This is why we're staying on air. Again, we get this tornado threat to go down. We'll get you back to your regular scheduled program. Again, I apologize for interrupting the TV as much as we have to. But again, this storm right here is pushing east and will continue to work towards. So the videos. Okay, yeah, we've got Adam there. Adam, have you seen anything from your view of everything going on? I know you're out in advance of the storm right now, but anything y'all detecting or noticing?
So we're just now dropping south out of 77, just outside of Cameron. So now we have a visual looking due south at that hook area that we're trying to look for. So far we cannot see anything. It's very dark, a lot of lightning. But during night chases, we normally look for power flashes to represent if something is maybe on the ground, whether it's strong winds or a possible tornado. So we're going to keep you updated as we're moving south now on 77 towards that tornado warning where the hook echo is.
All right, Adam, thank you. Again, they're heading down Highway 77, so they'll be really in the right spot to see anything. And as he told you, it's just hard to see much out there. That's why we don't advise people to chase that don't know, and we typically don't do a lot of chasing at night. But we got experts like Adam and Melissa that know what they're looking for and have been around very large tornadoes. They kind of know the safe spots to be and where to get on that. Now, that hook has diminished a little bit in the last scan. Hopefully that and the rotation not quite as great in the last scan either, but it's still in kind of this area. You'll see the loop here where it's that right in that area right there. It was looking pretty impressive a couple scans ago, not quite as impressive. You see I'm just kind of going backwards here. You can see as it moved right in there where that little hook, still a little bit, but again, it's going to be hard to see much here. It's going to likely move right across. Here's the intersection of Highway 77 and Highway 190. So that's kind of right in that general area that's going to skirt near and just south of the Cameron area. And again, we've got Adam and Melissa there. They're kind of setting up shop now to kind of wait and see. They can see the flashes off in the distance there. So they should have a really good view looking at this storm moving right towards them. So we've got the best seat in the house to see what they can see, and after it moves towards there here in the next couple of minutes, we should have some good visual ground truth to what the radar is showing. But again, it's kind of in this area here. Again, that hook has disappeared some compared to just a couple scans ago. That hopefully is signs that the rotation is diminishing some with this, but still something that we got to keep an eye on. Wanted to pass along, we've got some more severe thunderstorm warnings, and now up into Freestone County and stretching up into parts of northeast Texas with this line that's moving through. Good news again, folks along and west of I-35, that threat is diminishing. We're now done with the severe weather threat for Waco, Temple, and Killeen, so that's good news with that. We're watching this one storm here, really the only tornadic potential storm anywhere across the state of Texas that is working its way right near the Cameron area. That's in parts of Milam County, and that's the one that we're concerned with that's got that potential rotation with it, and it's right in this area here. Again, it's got a little bit of a notch. Earlier, it had a better hook to it, and that dark screen I'm showing you there, we're watching the lightning flashes. So what our chasers are trying to do is set the camera up where they expect the possible rotation to be and show you how hard it is. They're literally waiting for the lightning flashes to see what kind of storm structure they can see, because as chasers, you can tell sometimes if the storm's more outflow dominant or if there's winds blowing in and you maybe can see a wall cloud. That's something they're trying to see, or a potential funnel cloud. But it's in between these intermittent flashes that they're hoping to see the structure of it. So that shows how hard it is to be out chasing and seeing. That's why we tell folks not to be out with it. But that's the view they're seeing from right about here. They're looking right into this storm. So they're on the Highway 77, and we'll check here. Guys, if y'all hear anything from him and he thinks needs to jump on, just let me know and we'll check in with him. So again, our Weather Authority chasers sitting right in this area looking right towards there. And you can see, again, it's hard to see a whole lot of structure with it. And sometimes the lightning flashes can fool you where you think you're seeing more of something twisting down, but we don't see anything. You can see some of those kind of scud, what we call scud clouds that are dipping down a little bit, but nothing that shows any great signs of any rotation or anything like that. And again, they're just going to sit and watch in between lightning's flashes. The new update from the radar just came in and got a little better notch to it. They're in Minerva area. So again, Highway 77's right here. Highway 190's here. Here's Cameron. You got Rockdale and Thorndale farther down to the south. It's going to go north of Rockdale, Thorndale. Really looks like it's going to go south of the Cameron area that we're watching with this storm. Let's look at the rotation and see what we're seeing. It's not looking all that impressive when it comes to the rotation with this. It's still not real balanced. You know, if we were looking for a pretty ground truth storm, it would be reds and greens real bright. But to go along with what Adam and them are seeing, we're not seeing anything real ground truth of any tornado with that. Adam, are y'all seeing anything that from y'all's view in those lightning flashes that are pointing out anything?